Good morning. Good morning. I'm on vacay in Pagosa Springs, Colorado. So you get this cute backdrop. I'm like, let's come in here. We'll talk while it's quiet. Um, Amy, we were just talking about our assignment was to post that you're a professional network marketer. And I had never done that. And so I've talked about it over the years, but I hadn't done it this week. So this morning I just posted my post really, and I guess I didn't say like I'm a professional. Read to you what I wrote. I said I recently heard network marketing was the absolute best business model, and this is what we read in this book the last week.
Yes.
I said, I struggle saying anything is the absolute best, but man, I love this model. One, very low cost of entry. Two, mentors to help you every step of the way. Three, level playing field, paying field for all who do the work. Four, no inventory, no shipping, just sharing. Five, I can help anyone to build what I have. Six, teaching others doesn't hurt me in any way. It actually is good that my team do better than I. Okay. So you don't even have to be able to have correct grammar to post these things. Seven, work from absolutely anywhere and be able to work as little or as much as you want. Eight, no glass ceiling here. Always an opportunity to move up to grow your skills. Nine, I have never been bored. Saying yes to network marketing 7 years ago was the best thing I ever did. I'm so thankful that not only has it blessed my family, it has been a vehicle for blessing so many of my friends and family, some I knew 7 years ago and some I have met along the way.
I love that.
That was my coming out post, but I mean, I think I'm already out, but was
Can
like,
can I go copy and paste that but change it?
absolutely.
Because I posted last week, just like I said I was going to. I posted network marketing is not perfect, but it is a better way. That's my opinion. What's yours? I got zero engagement.
Weird.
Nothing.
Weird. How
But
many views did you see on it?
well, I mean it's just a word post, so it doesn't tell me because it's on Facebook. I can't tell. But the other thing is I posted a reel a couple hours later that like blew up. So I just don't know if people didn't see my post because my reel got all the attention. I don't know. But I did post it, but I love yours. I'm gonna go steal it and make it my own.
Do it. Do it. And so that was, one of our goals, like for people watching the replay, with this book was just like putting it out there to the world, right? And like, are you brave enough? Will you do it? Will you say, like, I'm a professional network marketer? I know, and if you're hesitant to do so, we should maybe walk through that. Like, message me. Let's talk about that. All
Yeah,
right.
you're not gonna be a very successful network marketer if you're a network marketer in hiding. And if you try to do it like on the down low, it feels kind of sleazy. So you just gotta come out with it and but be like, this is what I'm doing, whether it's
Yeah.
part-time, full-time, whatever. Claim it.
I used to always give this analogy, and I think it still fits. It's like when people are online and they're like, "Oh, I'm looking for a natural soap. Like, anybody know of a great natural soap?" And then all of a sudden you're like messaging them, "Oh my gosh, I have the best natural soap. I've been making soap for 7 years." And they're just confused and like, "I've been friends with you, and I've never known you made soap. You made soap."
Yeah.
Like when like they have no clue and they're just like, you've done what? No, you haven't. You share your life, but you haven't shared that. And
Yeah.
that's how we can tend to be with this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think some of it, even like going through this, there is some old way stuff in here. Um, and I think, that was kind of the old teaching though, like, don't talk about it, don't talk about it. Um, and I think each of us has to decide which way we want to build this.
Yeah. You gotta take every book with a grain of salt and take what works for you and leave what doesn't. And definitely realize like when it was written and where we are now. But there's a lot of really good stuff in the book. I
Yeah.
did a story today talking about what we talked about last night.
Oh, sweet.
Yes. And it felt really awkward because talking about income stuff, it feels awkward. But I had a lady post to me. She's like, "Oh my word, that was so well said. You're so articulate." And while I'm talking, I was like stumbling and like, that's not how I meant to say it, but that's what I said, you know? So people don't know that your brain is saying different things when what is coming out of your mouth is actually making sense.
And we always need to remember the number of people posting on social media and the number of people viewing on social media are drastically different.
Yeah.
And we're only seeing who's posting, right? Like we see their posts and we get this mindset of like everybody who's on Facebook is posting. I don't want to tell like wrong numbers. I know I've looked up the numbers before, but it's like, 70% of Facebook are scrollers, right? They're not putting anything out there. So when you start putting stuff out there, you start talking to the camera. Like, I mean, you think about how many people are actually talking in stories. That number is extremely low. So
Yeah.
if you're doing any of that stuff, you look like a professional to the people that are just sitting on the couch scared.
Yeah. So case in point, my uncle lives in Indiana. What I saw him one time and he seemed to know everything that was going on with my life and asking me all these questions about things that I was like, whoa, weird, because I never see you. And he's one of those stalker people on Facebook that he watches everything, but he never likes, he never comments, he never does anything. You don't even know he's there, but he's watching everything. And I was like, I wonder how many other people are doing that, you know?
So many. I get some people would tell me, I watch all your videos. I'm like I ran into another one a few months ago. I went back to Williston where we used to live, and I thought this friend of mine, I'm like, I feel so out of touch with her. I never see her, never talk to her. And she knew everything. And she said
Yeah.
that. She's like, I watch everything. I'm like, and she's a friend my age. And you'd think she'd be at least like giving it a heart. No.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's
it's
with all
weird
these
because
stingy watchers.
yeah. And then she doesn't feel out of touch with me, right?
Right.
Like she's like, I know what's going on with Melissa,
Yeah.
but I feel completely out of touch with her.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we went through chapters 3 and 4. Chapter 3 was like any profession, you'll need to learn some skills. And I think my post kind of talked about a lot of the stuff that they talk about in the beginning of this chapter. It's just like, you don't it doesn't take a bunch to start, blah blah blah, stuff like that. And then they're talking about the posers and people that come in just like with hoping that they'll know a couple people, and honestly, I feel bad when after I read this because I have recruited using that mindset. Like I've recruited people saying to them, "Hey, I know these other people. They only signed up 3 people and they're making good money."
Right.
And that too could happen for like you don't need to do this business. Just who are three
So
people
then
that
we set
you
up
know?
expectations. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm like, who are 3 people that you know that might want to do this? And I mean, I guess I'm like, I don't feel bad because that is true. And it does help get to people that you would have never known. They go, oh, let's bring these people in. And then there's a certain point though, people have to decide if they're going to work more or if they're going to be like, well, I invited those 3 people. I'm good.
Yeah.
And
And when there are 3 people that they thought would be their big, people are not interested at all, they're like, well, I'm not doing this because that person said no, so I can't be successful or whatever.
yeah, yeah. I loved on the bottom of page 29, it says, everything changes when you take full responsibility for your network marketing career.
Yep.
And I love when they feel like fire your upline and be like, I appreciate you. I got this. Let's see. The questions for chapter 3. What are your biggest challenges when it comes to finding new prospects?
Hmm. I I don't know that prospecting has ever been a skill of mine because I just like share, and I used to share how we made money really well. I could share that part of the business really, really well. Um, I need to practice and get better at that, but I always just like shared it with everybody who'd let me talk and say, I don't know if this is for you or not. I want you to know about it and I would love for you to join me. So I never like specifically prospected people, but I did want to tell everybody and invite everybody. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, but I think like that is prospecting. Like that's just, I think maybe in the when you hear prospecting, you hear it like you're going hunting,
Right.
right? And but I think what he's talking about is like that we do just build our network, right? And that we're adding to that list. I love that saying that says like your network is your net worth.
Hmm.
And you know, for me, sometimes I'm like I do get you get that feeling of like, oh, I don't want to be like using people. I don't want people to feel like I'm only meeting them just so that I can sell to them later. Like that
Yeah.
feels
I
gross.
don't
Like,
like the word prospecting.
mm,
I don't like it because it does feel like hunting.
yeah,
But I like to sift and what is the word? Sift and sort,
yeah,
you know, which is probably prospecting in a different word, but I
yeah.
just don't like the word, I think.
Yeah, and this is where I've been like struggling personally of like these networking groups and like going to networking. And yeah, I want to meet people, but at the same time, I don't want to go into these things like assuming people are going to do business with me or for them to think like I'm going to do business with them.
Hmm.
Like I don't need everybody's services and I don't want to feel beholding
Yeah.
to
And
do stuff with them. I don't know.
I always say in my presentations, I don't want you to join me if this is not for you. So I don't feel like I'm like, hunting them down. Like I am inviting you, I am sharing, but I really don't want you to join my team unless this is work that you want to do with me. I think that takes the pressure off so that it doesn't feel like, you know,
Yeah,
hunting.
I love that. And that's
Because I have, you know, I have in the past been like, I really, really want you on my team. I really, really want you on my team. And like, you're such a great customer. You do great at this. And then they become a team member, but they're really just a customer that is called a consultant. And I'm like, well, that wasn't what I wanted, you
yeah.
know?
I just looked up synonyms for prospecting. Um, but some of these like they're more about like looking for gold or something, I think.
Right.
So like inspect, survey, explore. But I think hunting, probing, discovering, scurrying, I don't know that. Um, but I think that maybe that is that thing, like that word just feels weird to us. But if we talk about like building our list and
Mhm.
like in that chapter 4, he's like, yeah, this guy, he's got 12,000 friends. And that just feels really exhausting to me.
Yeah. Well,
12,000 friends.
that was before we did work online, right? So I feel like the way that we do attraction marketing is the way we're prospecting in this century. And we do have to be like intentional about our words. But I think that is just like the new way of doing it. Not to say you can't make a list and do the old way too, but I just think we have more ways to do things.
Yeah. I love when I hear Tara Wilson talk about how she started um not I don't think it was even LifeVantage, it was another company, and how she built her business there, and it was from 3 referrals. And she was like, all my friends and family had already joined, like my parents, because I'd already I would they were trying to get me to say yes, and I was telling them no for too long. So
Yeah.
when I finally said yes, everybody I knew was already signed up. And she just said, doing this thing. Do you know anybody that might be interested? And that, that blew up her business. And I think, um, I just never want to like only be nice to people if they're going to build my business, right? And I know, both of us aren't like that. I think people watching this replay aren't like that either, so it feels weird. Um, but I think it is that expanding your network of like who do you know? Like it talks about, going to places, like joining a club,
Yeah.
um, doing those kind of things.
Hmm.
Um, see, it says okay. And it was, we talked about last night on our call with that dot card,
Hmm.
and I'm like, that's like a way that you could work on prospecting. But
Hmm.
um, what do you think are ways like that you have, or like ways that you've heard of people building their network?
I mean, I do love what he's saying about everybody you meet goes on your list. I have a list from years ago, but I haven't actively added to it. Um, but like I joined a gym in 2014. I have a whole new list of people. Um, so it's not like on one list master list, so I should definitely add it to them, but they're on smaller lists throughout my calendar, like talk to these people. I had two different jobs. I met more people. So I do think, we are always adding to that list, even if it's just mentally. And I do think it would be a great practice to put it on paper because there's a lot that happens psychologically when you put things on paper. So I do think that's a practice that I should do. And I also love the idea of getting out there and doing things that you love and making friends that love the same things you do. And naturally, you get to know them and then you get to share with them and you get to possibly change their life in some way. So I don't know if that answers the
Yeah.
question.
No, yeah, I agree. Like the power of putting it on paper, that is huge. Um,
And just because
some of
I
the
don't do it
ways,
on a daily basis doesn't mean I don't want my team to do it. Like, I think it's important to do.
and sometimes like I think of my list as like when I add new people on Facebook. But like I was talking to a friend the other day, and people are losing their Facebook accounts. They're getting hacked, so make sure you have double authentication set up and have a strong, strong password.
Yeah.
But for me, like I, go to a park with my kids or something, and then I would be like, "Oh, are you on Facebook?" Like meet somebody, and then that's kind of how I would connect with people.
Yeah.
Or I ran different clubs and things, and you just spending time with people. I
Mhm.
would say I'm definitely in a hermit phase of my life though, and so I haven't really been doing that. But those are ways that have worked really well for me in the past. And it was like I did this club thing, adventure club with our homeschool group. Every person I hung out with on that became a customer consultant.
Mhm.
And I wasn't even trying to do that. Um, I find myself actually trying not to talk about LifeVantage a lot. Like, because it
Because you
just,
also want to be a human being, because
yeah. And
that's our thing. Like,
oh
so
yeah.
yeah.
And I think, oh, sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. I think that is attractive to people too. Sorry.
Bless you.
When you're a human,
Mhm.
but when you're also doing stuff, like I wouldn't talk about it, but I would say like, oh, I can't meet next week because I'm going to Salt Lake for training, right? And the
Yeah.
people are like, wait, what kind of training are you doing? Like that's the kind of stuff, like I would
Yeah.
say
Because then
those
they're
kind of
like,
things.
you haven't even told me about this. And
Yeah.
it builds intrigue. And then
Hmm.
they don't feel like you met them just to hunt them down
Yeah.
because they're like, oh, what? And then they're asking you.
Yeah. And I mean, my goal wasn't for each of those people to join me. Of course, I want the whole world to join me, but I was
But
like, my
also, we
goal
just
was
want
to,
people in our life.
yeah, I wanted to get outside and be with my friends and talk to other adults. And so then the byproduct of that was people joining my team, and that's where I've told my team a lot, like, be a leader of something. Like it doesn't need to be a network marketing thing, but it's like one of those things when people can they depend on you. They see you're dependable, right? That you're friendly, like they get to know you. Those things get really, really help. Um there's this girl, Angel Fletcher. I went to this most powerful women in network marketing thing years ago. And I'll never forget this Angel Fletcher talking, because a lot of people were talking about attraction marketing, and I think a lot of us like that way. Oh, LifeVantage is calling me right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna let them, they can
Okay.
leave me a message. Um, sorry. So she said, I gotta turn this over. Um, so a lot of people do attraction marketing, which love, but I know there's people watching this also that are more of an Angel Fletcher. And so she says her goal is to be more interested than interesting.
Yeah.
And she kept lists of all these people, like when they were having babies, when their anniversary was, when they're all this stuff, and she would message them and reach out and love on them all the time. One way she worked on getting contacts is she would have a raffle once a week or once a month. I mean, you decide what you're gonna do. I can't remember her exact schedule, but she's like, I was always having a raffle, and everywhere I went, I would have a checkout lady and I would invite them to join my raffle. Um, I every day she had a goal, and I can't remember what it is now, but maybe like five people, right, to get into this thing. And so she actively collected names, collected phone numbers, and did that everywhere she went. And then, raffled off a 5 pack of Axio samples. Like it doesn't have to be like I'm raffling off a skincare system.
Mhm.
And she built a massive business doing that. So I think, um, different people's personality, like Jennifer Bishop or Jennifer Polk, that woman, she'll go to the doctor and she's like, "Oh, the nurse is ready. They were looking at the business now." She's like,
I
"I
know.
went out to dinner," and she's like, "The girl in the stall next to me, we have a meeting next week." I'm
I
like,
know.
I
How
don't
do you
know how
even
you
do
do
that?
this.
I don't even know how to start conversations like that.
Yeah.
Need
And
to be on the fly, a fly on the wall with Jennifer.
yeah, she's the queen of asking questions. And I
Mhm.
think that is really like her skill is like she just asks a lot of questions. And it's like those people, maybe they say no. And it's like if they say no, it's not like she's never talking to them again. It's, we're be friendly. And the friendly thing to do is share what we have. What we
Mhm.
have is so powerful. Um, and sometimes being a good friend means we do scary things, and we share these scary things. And I know when we care more about what they think about us than what's best for them, like we get hurt. Like that's not the way to operate, but it's an easy default way that most humans operate.
Mhm. Yes.
Um, let's see that. What do you think are the most common mistakes people make when inviting prospects?
Uh, well, sometimes we say too much and sometimes we say too little. I think people just need to be real when they're inviting people and not be scripted. Like, I want to share this with you, or come with me and do this. I thought of you because, and tell them why you want to share or why they want to see it. A lot of times, like early on, we were taught don't tell anything, just get them there. And people have their guard up for things like that. Um, but I think if you're a real human and say, look, we've talked about this, I think I have something that could help you, or would you be willing to take a look? Please join me for this. Um, Sometimes I also just say, hey, I would love to connect with you. I go to this brunch every Saturday. I would love for you to be my guest on Saturday for brunch, just to meet my community, see what I do, and then let's hang out after. Like, some people say no, some people say yes, but it's the same with all invites. So just trying to be a real human when you're inviting people, telling them why you want them to see it. Some people say that's not for me anyways, and that hurts your feelings because you're like, I thought of you because, and you're caring about this person, and they're just like, I'm not interested. Well, you have to allow them to not be interested,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
And I love that, the like just no doesn't mean no, it means not right now,
Mhm.
and I think different people bump into Life Advantage at different points in their life, and sometimes they really need it and or want it, or like I talked to this doctor who the people have been talking to him for months, if not years, about Life Advantage, and he kept being like, I'm too busy, I'm too busy. Well, he broke his ankle and was at home and finally had time to sit down and research this, and he was like, oh my gosh, this is
Yeah.
amazing. And him and his wife are now like, we're gonna help more people with Life Advantage than we do like as
Yep.
a doctor and a nurse.
Yep.
Um, which is such an amazing thing, but he just wasn't ready. He didn't have the time, or he didn't
Mhm.
understand how amazing what he had his hands on. So it just took him a while, but
He didn't see the value in putting his time into it until he had all the time in the world.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I love it. So, okay, next week we've got chapters 5 and 6, and chapter 5 is a little longer. These have been short, really short chapters, which is
Yeah.
nice. But this chapter 5 is skill number 2, inviting prospects to understand your product or opportunity. And so I think there's a lot of different approaches in here, so that'll be good. Different ideas of how to do that. And then chapter 6 is presenting your product or opportunity to your prospects. So one's inviting them, and then the next one is letting them see what we have. So I'm excited. I'm glad you guys are reading this. Um, you know, I think even some of that stuff is going to be kind of some of the old way. And so it's good to learn it. And there's going to be people on your team that want to do need, that don't want to do social media at all. So understanding these kind of ways to build is great for us. What I have loved the most from this book is like the follow-up part, the answering their objections, though that wording in here is I've used forever. I teach it constantly because it is so, so good. Now, if I could just master using those skills with my children, we'd be so good. But I
Yeah.
don't
Children
know.
are hard because they get your level up. Like
Yeah.
you escalate with your children because
Yeah.
they're your children. So it's hard to think, intellectually like we think in business sometimes because in the moment you're escalated. I
Yeah.
had, and I'm just rambling now, but my son and I would escalate each other. And I wish I had realized at a younger age that I was escalating a situation. And as the adult, it was my job to neutralize the situation so that what I said could be effective in his life. Instead, we just kept escalating each other because we're so the
Yeah.
same. Um,
I have a sub like that.
I wish I had learned that earlier and understood that earlier. But yeah, kids
Yeah.
are different than business, but we can definitely practice those skills if we can help ourselves not to escalate and think
Right.
intellectually.
Absolutely. Okay, for people watching the replay, go read chapters 5 and 6 and post that you're a professional network marketer. Somehow get that out there to the world. Let them know. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording, but I won't hang up yet. Here.
Okay.